Hello, it's Ian Gordon. I'm talking about the Longwave cycle, and this is the fourth segment of my talk to you today. So in the previous segment, I was talking to you about how we know that we're going into the winter of the cycle, the time when the economy sleeps or dies, really overcome by the massive amount of debt that's been built into the economy throughout the three previous seasons of the cycle, but particularly during the autumn of the cycle. So you can see here the US debt, and you can see that the debt bottoms, and this is debt per GDP, you can see that debt bottoms effectively at the end of the winter. Here's the bottom occurring in that debt cycle, and then it starts to build up. But the real build-up, you can see here, starts to occur in the autumn of the cycle. And that debt not only is pertinent to what is happening in the United States, but it's a worldwide phenomenon, and one that we're seeing unfolding with a great degree of severity in Europe at the present time. But that debt now has to be wrung out of the system. And of course, at this time, the powers that be are trying to resist the debt taking down the economy by, in fact, building even more debt into the economy. So it's this process of debt unwinding that occurs in the winter that causes the depression, and it's always deflationary because the economy dies, there's no ability of people to effectively consume. Everybody is basically living hand to mouth, or not everybody, but most people are living hand to mouth during this period. It's a very, very difficult period, so prices have to fall during this time. And we're seeing that effectively what's happening is a massive deflation that's occurring in the US housing prices, because the debt was built so enormously large into the US housing. Now the housing bubble has burst and debt is being run out of the housing system in the United States. And that eventually what happens is the stock market has to reflect what is happening in the economy. And so we can see between 29 and 32, the stock market, the bear market that followed this big bull market, only took 2.5 years to run its course, and yet the Dow lost 90% of its value between 1929 and 1932. This time, the bear market that started in 2000 wasn't allowed to run its course. Alan Greenspan brought interest rates down during this first period of when the bear market was dropping from 6 to 1%, flooded the banks with money, and that revived the stock market. But more importantly, what it did is it built a massive bubble in the real estate market. And you got another peak here in in 2007, October 2007, and another down here in the Dow, and that wasn't allowed to run its course because Ben Bernanke, current Federal Reserve Chairman, again brought interest rates down to basically zero and flooded the banks with money through quantitative easing. So we're in this stage, but eventually this stock market will reflect, as this one did, will reflect the depression in the economy and will go down, and we will go somewhere down here, probably below the point from whence the big bull market began. So we see that happening right here. The big bull market began here and ended here. So it's down below the point. So if that was to be on the Dow, it would be somewhere like 500 points on the Dow Jones Industrials, because this big bull market began at 777 points.